Welcome to Science Easy Tech channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about energy, which comes under Nutrition Unit 5 for BSc Nursing first year students. This video will also be useful for post-basic BSc Nursing students and also students who are studying general nutrition and dietetics. Before moving on to the topic, if you are new to Science Easy Tech channel, just take a moment to subscribe our channel and also to press the notification bell icon in order to get connected with our latest updates. Let's move on to the topic. So make your move, sit less, be active for life. So if you want to be active for your life, what is very important? Yes, it is none other than your energy. So energy is going to play a very important role for a human being to perform his day-to-day activities. So what is energy? Energy is the capacity to do work. If we want to do any work, we need energy. Without energy, we cannot move not even a single pin. So energy must be supplied regularly to meet the needs of the body for survival. It doesn't mean today if I am eating and I am energetic, if tomorrow I am not going to have anything, so my energy level will become down. So energy must be supplied constantly to our body in order to meet the needs of the body for survival. Even if the person is at rest also, he needs some energy to do his physiological functions, that is internal body functions. The body needs energy for maintaining body temperature, metabolic activity, supporting growth, for physical work, to maintain constant body weight and good health. So for all these things, that is maintaining body temperature, metabolic activity, supporting growth, for physical work, to maintain constant body weight and good health, we need energy. So what are the energy yielding food factors? So we get energy from major nutrients. What are the major nutrients? Yes, carbohydrates, fats and proteins. So they are the main sources of energy. Out of these three also, carbohydrates play a very important role in giving energy. Whenever the food is deficient in carbohydrates, that time fats will be playing a role in giving energy. So whenever we are having deficient in both carbohydrates and fats, that time the proteins also serve as a source for energy. So within the body, these are oxidized in the cells, that is the carbohydrates, proteins, fats, everything are getting oxidized in the cells. So the process is one of the continuous utilization of oxygen. So oxygen is utilized and what is produced? Carbon dioxide, water and heat is produced. So what is the units of energy? Energy can be measured in calorie and joules. So energy can be measured in the form of calorie and joules. The energy value of foods can be expressed in terms of either kilocalories or megajoules. So you can express the energy value of foods by means of kilocalories or megajoules. The International Union of Nutrition Sciences has suggested the use of a megajoule as the energy unit in place of kilocalories. Instead of kilocalories, you can use megajoule as energy unit. So this was given by International Union of Nutritional Sciences. So these units, that is the kilocalories, megajoules, everything has been defined below. Okay, so kilocalories, 1 kilogram calorie is the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 kg of water through 1 degree centigrade. So it is the amount or quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water through 1 degree centigrade. So that is the definition for kilocalories. Next, joule. A joule is defined as the energy required to move 1 kg mass by meter by a force of 1 Newton acting on it. So a joule is defined as the energy required in order to move 1 kg of any mass or weight by 1 meter to 1 meter by a force of 1 Newton acting on it. So what is Newton? Okay, Newton is the unit of force, we know it. So 1 Newton is the force needed to accelerate 1 kg mass by less than a second. So 1 Newton is the force needed to accelerate 1 kg mass by less than a second. So what is 1 kilocalories? It is 4.184 kilojoules. Then what is 1000 kilocalories? 4.184 megajoules. Then what is 1 megajoule? It is 240 kilocalories. Let's see the energy value of foods. So the energy in various foods is measured by calorimetry. So calorimetry is the measurement of heat loss. So the energy value of foods is determined by using an instrument called as bomb calorimeter. So with the help of bomb calorimeter, we can measure the energy value of foods. Let's see the gross energy value of foods. So the gross energy value of foods when samples of carbohydrates, fats and proteins are burned. The amount of heat produced is always the same for each of these nutrients. So the amount of heat which is produced when you are going to burn the carbohydrate, fat, protein. So even in our body also metabolism, the burning process is taking place. So when you are going to test it in your lab also, so when you are going to test these samples, carbohydrate, protein, fat, the amount of heat produced is always the same for each of these nutrients. The average gross energy value of carbohydrates and fats and proteins are determined by using bomb calorimeter. So when you are testing by means of bomb calorimeter, 1 gram of carbohydrate gives 4.1 kilocalories. 1 gram of fat gives 9.45 kilocalories. 1 gram of protein gives 5.65 kilocalories. So this is the gross energy value of foods when you are determining by means of what? By means of bomb calorimeter. Next, we will see the physiological energy value of foods. In the utilization of carbohydrates, fats and proteins in the body, a certain percentage of these nutrients will be lost in the digestion process. Okay, so a certain amount of nutrients will be utilized for digestion process. Some amount of protein will be excreted even in the urine as urea. So which also contains this urea, this protein in the form of urea it is excreting, no, it also contains some energy value. So when you are utilizing carbohydrates, proteins and fat for the metabolism purpose itself, some amount of energy is needed. So some percentage of the nutrients is lost in the digestion process, whereas some part of the protein is lost in the urine as urea, which also contains some energy value. So the average losses in digestion in human subjects have been estimated. Approximately they are telling the 2% for carbohydrates have been utilized, have been lost. 5% for fats and 8% for proteins will be lost in the process of digestion. So the loss of energy in urea, in the urine, the protein is excreted as urea, no. So the loss of energy in urea is estimated to be about 1.2 kilocalorie per gram of protein oxidized. Okay, 1.2 kilocalorie per gram of protein when it undergoes oxidation. Then the physiological energy value of foods can be calculated from the gross energy values. I told about gross energy values. So that the gross energy values of 1 gram of carbohydrate is 4.1 kilocalories, 1 gram of fat is 9.45 kilocalories and 1 gram of protein is 5.65 kilocalories. So when based on this gross energy value of foods, you can calculate the physiological energy of foods. Okay, and also after allowing how much is lost by means of digestion, metabolism. So after that, how much our body can get, it means from carbohydrates we can get 4 kilocalories, from fats we can get 9 kilocalories, and from proteins we can get 4 kilocalories. See, in proteins and all it is 5.65 kilocalories, but more than 1.2 kilocalories are lost through the urine as urea. Okay, so thereby the physiological utilization, our body will be getting finally only 4 kilocalories of proteins. So carbohydrates 4 kilocalories, fats 9 kilocalories and proteins 4 kilocalories. These values are known as Atwater-Briand factors or physiological fuel values. So the values are named as Atwater-Briand factors or it is otherwise called as physiological fuel values. Next we will see the coefficient of digestibility. The coefficient of digestibility is used to express the proportion of an ingested nutrient that ultimately becomes available to the body cells. See, once the carbohydrates, we are taking carbohydrates, we are taking proteins, we are taking fats, but unless and until it is properly digested, it is absorbed, it is metabolized only, the utilization will be there. So for proper digestion of carbohydrate, protein and fat, which is very important. So this coefficient of digestibility values are given for carbohydrate as 0.98 and for fat as 0.95 and for protein as 0.92 respectively. It is observed that carbohydrate and fat are metabolized almost completely. Carbohydrates, fats and all will be metabolized completely if your digestive system is functioning normally, whereas protein metabolism is complete because in proteins, apart from carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, you are having nitrogen also. So the protein digestion is somewhat incomplete. Okay, so let's see the physiological fuel value or coefficient of digestibility and digestibility percentage of carbohydrate, fat and protein, which is presented in the below given table. So here the nutrient, carbohydrate, fat, protein. So for carbohydrate, the heat of combustion is 4.1 kilocalories. For fat, the heat of combustion is 9.45 kilocalories, and for protein, the heat of combustion is 5.65 kilocalories. Then the coefficient of digestibility already we have discussed that for carbohydrate is 0.98 and for fat it is 0.95. So carbohydrate and fat almost it is fully digested, whereas proteins, because of the presence of nitrogen, it is incomplete digestion. So 0.92 the coefficient of digestibility for protein is. Next is digestibility percentage. Carbohydrate 98% it will be digested, protein fat will be digested 95% and protein will be digested 92%. Then physiological fuel value. So how much the body can utilize? From carbohydrate it is 4, from fat it is 9 and from protein it is 4. So already everything we have discussed, just in a tabular form I am just summarizing it. Next we will see basal metabolic rate. So in energy they will be asking about energy, then calorie like that and all. What is the unit to measure energy like that? That and all can come under 2 marks like that. This basal metabolic rate you can get in a essay question or even in 5-mark question. Okay. So this is very very important. This basal metabolism is the minimum amount of energy which is required by the body for maintenance of life even when the person is at complete physical and mental rest. Even if the person is at rest also, he needs some energy to perform his basal metabolic activities. Only physically you are taking rest, but your physiological functions inside your body, your heart is working, your brain is working, then your lungs are working, your liver is working, your kidney is working, everything is working. So for maintaining the basal physiological functions even at rest, when the person is both at physical and mental rest also, you need some amount of energy, that is called as basal metabolism. And this rest, when we are telling and having a normal body temperature, he should have a normal body temperature and in the post absorptive state, that means 12 hours after the intake of the last meal. So what is basal metabolism? It is a minimum amount of energy needed by the body for maintenance of life even when the person is at complete physical and mental rest and having a normal body temperature, and also in the post-absorptive state. Post-absorptive state means 12 hours after the intake of last meal. Basal metabolic rate is a measure of the energy required by the activities of resting tissue. Basal metabolic rate means you are measuring, okay, the energy what is required for the resting tissues in order to perform its activities. Then the basal metabolic rate can be measured directly from the heat produced by means of using a respiratory calorimeter and metabolic chamber. So it can be directly measured from the heat produced by means of using a respiration calorimeter and a metabolic chamber, or it can be measured indirectly from oxygen intake and carbon dioxide expenditure. So oxygen intake and carbon dioxide expenditure when the subject is at rest. Let's see the basal metabolic rate. The rate of energy used for metabolism under basal metabolism is usually expressed as kilocalories per kg body weight per hour. So how it is expressed? This basal metabolic rate is expressed as kilocalories per kg body weight per hour. That is, the rate of energy is expressed in terms of kilocalories per kg body weight per hour. So what are the factors affecting basal metabolic rate, which is very 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 important. So let's see the factors affecting basal metabolic rate. So first factor is body composition. So more the lean the body mass, higher the is the basal metabolic rate. Suppose if your body mass is very lean, okay, So you will be having higher basal metabolic rate. So this is due to the greater metabolic activity in the tissues when compared to the bones and fat. In bones and fat, the metabolism is very less, but in active tissues, okay, when the person is very lean, so the metabolism in the muscles and tissues are going to be more when compared to that of bones and fat. So men with a high proportion of muscle mass or lean body mass have a higher BMR than women. So men who are having muscle mass, exercise body like that and all, who are lean are going to have a good muscle mass. They are going to have a high basal metabolic rate than women. Next is fever. Fever rises the basal metabolic rate. So there is a 7% increase in BMR for each degree rise of fever. If the fever rises by 1 degree centigrade, then your BMR will be increased by means of 7%. For every 1 degree Fahrenheit, it's not 1 degree centigrade. For every 1 degree Fahrenheit, so your BMR will be increased by 7%, and 13% increase will be seen for every 1 degree centigrade rise. So for 1 degree Fahrenheit increase means 7%. For 1 degree Celsius increase means it is 13%. Stress, anxiety, everything leads to increased BMR. It raises the BMR. Smoking and caffeine, because stress, because of the hormonal influences, what it is going to secrete, so everything, your BMR is going to get increased. Smoking and caffeine intake also increases the basal metabolic rate. Hyperthyroidism, here the basal metabolic rate will be increased to 50 to 70%, whereas hypothyroidism, decreased activity of the thyroid gland, decreases the basal metabolic rate. But hyperthyroidism, over secretion of thyroxine hormone, leads to increased BMR, basal metabolic rate. Growth in tall people, basal metabolic rate is very high. In tall people, basal metabolic rate is very higher. Next, pregnancy. During the last trimester means last 3 months of pregnancy, okay, 7th month, 8th month, 9th month, okay. So what we will be having severe increase, basal metabolic rate is increased by 15 to 25%, as there is increase in muscle mass, because the uterus, everything will be increased in size. Then size of the mammary glands, your breast glands, everything has been increased. Then fetal mass, baby is also developing, placenta, everything. So cardiac work rate, respiratory rate, everything will be increased. So that is in pregnancy. Next is fasting or starvation. If you are not eating properly and if you are starving, if you are doing fasting, that time your basal metabolic rate is very less. So that's why you are feeling less energetic also. Hypothyroidism, already I told, the basal metabolic rate will be decreased by 20%. Age, lean body mass diminishes with age, slowing the BMR. So as aging advances, the muscles, everything will be lost, okay. So you will become very lean or emaciated or thin or weak. In such case, your basal metabolic rate is going to get decreased. And BMR is higher in infants, children 1 year, because they are growing, so it is increased. And young children than in adults. So in young children, because of the growing activity, the BMR is more. Undernutrition, prolonged undernutrition for a prolonged period will be decreasing the or lowering the basal metabolic rate. Then climate, in person living in tropical climates, BMR is about 10% less than those persons living in temperature zones. So the persons who are living in tropical regions and all, the basal metabolic rate is 10 times lower than the persons who are living in temperature zones. Then sleep. So when you are sleeping, you need less energy, so your basal metabolic rate also will be reduced to 5%. Okay, so these are the factors affecting basal metabolic rate. So body composition, fever, stress, smoking and caffeine, hyperthyroidism, growth, pregnancy, fasting or starvation, hypothyroidism, age, undernutrition, and climate. Hope this video is clear for you all. If you like my video, please give a thumbs up, share and subscribe to Science Easy Tech channel. My previous videos link I have given in the description box, in the end cards and suggested iCards. And you can also watch our channel playlist BSc Nursing First Year Nutrition for more videos as well as syllabus based videos. Thank you friends. Keep supporting to Science Easy Tech channel.